Okay, so now we're on to the last of the three fundamental concepts of ARCore. This is light estimation. I suppose it's really just going to be playing around a little bit with the shaders and what it is that makes up this system that Google's got for light estimation, at least in the context of Unity. So that if we want to adjust something in the future or we want to make any changes, we're not it's not like some black box. We sort of have a bit of an understanding about how the whole thing works. Yeah, so we could just start a new Unity project. Yeah, I suppose if you haven't done any shader work before, we're only going to do a little bit of, we're only going to make a tiny adjustment to one shader, and we're going to write one very small script as well, just to test what we're doing. Yeah, it's quite interesting, just looking at all the different lighting techniques that are being used. Yeah, it seems that it's pretty, Google's refined it quite well as well. So I'm not sure exactly what situation would be like, oh yeah, we really need to change things a lot. It'd probably be more on the shader side than the scripting side if you were to, with lighting. I suppose it makes sense if you were to do lighting stuff in the future. Anyway, so I'll quickly just set up this project. Just switch to Android. Go into the player settings, and I've been getting in the habit of just locking the orientation. Okay, then other settings, multi-threaded rendering. I change that package name. Okay, and then just go to minimum API level, and finally just the XR settings. Change that to ARCore supported. All right, and now all we've got to do is bring in this Unity package that we've downloaded. We are going to use some stuff from the example project, so we'll import the whole thing. Yeah, what we're kind of going to do is we'll compare side by side one of Google's shaders, and we'll create our own simple shader based off the Unity surface shader, and we'll sort of just see what inputs we can pass into it, how that sort of how the flow of information is working, and just get a bit of a better general understanding for how the whole thing works. Okay, so now we've got all that in. We're just going to go into the Hello AR example, go to prefabs, and we're just going to drag in two of these Andys. Okay, we can sort of zoom right in. Yeah, so we'll name one of them, just call it ARCore Andy. And the other one we'll just call it Custom Andy. And maybe we'll just drag the Custom Andy a little bit out, a little bit up, and both of them forward just a little bit. Because when we'll delete this main camera, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag in these ARCore prefabs. So just in the ARCore folder, just go to prefabs. Okay, we're going to drag in this device, ARCore device, that's got its own camera to it. And also we're going to drag in this environment light prefab. But we're actually going to disable it for now. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to just write our own very simple version of this environment light script. Okay, so just place those androids just somewhere we can see them for now, and just to be able to see them in the game view. Okay, and then we'll just create a new script. So go create a new script folder. Okay, and then we're just going to call this call it light estimation test. I mean, yeah, you don't even necessarily need to code along. I think it might even just be interesting to just see a little bit about how the whole thing works. Yeah, so we're just going to use this to sort of get the nuts and bolts of how it's all getting put together. Okay, so now we're just going to what we're going to do is we're going to create just a public float, and we're just going to be able to custom pass in whatever value we want to the shader. So how it's kind of working, if you never like sort of like done much shader work before, is like with the shaders, we're able to set like a global variable, which means any shader is going to be able to access it. And it just so happens that how ARCore does it is they have a special global variable called global light estimation with an underscore in front of it. And if we change that global variable, we're going to change all of ARCore's shader estimation, the lighting estimation. So I'll show you how we do that. So we just go create a public float. We'll call it a light estimation test. Oh, except with a lowercase. Yeah, maybe could do with a better name. It's not exactly the same as the class. Anyway, yeah. So we'll just go equals 0.5f. Okay. Now we're just going to create a new function, right? We're just going to call void set global light estimation, and we'll just pass in light value. Okay, that's a bit of JavaScript coming out of me. How's it? Floats light value. Okay, and in here we just go shader dot set global float. Okay, and this is in quotes. We go underscore global light estimation. Okay, comma, and then we just go light value. Oopsie daisy, light value. Okay. Cool, and now all we got to do is we say whenever we change this light estimation value, we want to do this one. So we'll just go on validate for now. Okay, and then we say on validate set global light estimation with light estimation test. Oh, that variable name is just going to bug me. Let's call it test value. Okay, test value. All right. So now, if we jump back into here, make sure that our environment light is disabled, and we're going to create a new empty game object. We'll just call it custom environment light. Okay, and we're just going to add this light estimation script to it. And you notice they all just change color? That's because we're able to actually control their color. And they're really expecting a value between 0 and 1. Like if we go above 1, it kind of gets a bit ridiculous. If we want to be professional, we can just quickly add a little attribute here. We go range 0 and 1. Oh, that should really be an F. Okay, and now I suppose what we can do is we can take it to the next step, which is how ARCore reads the values from the pixel data. So how do we do it like in real time? So how we do that, we just go using Google ARCore. Okay, we just go into every time we update, we want to set global light estimation, right, with a value from the frame class. Is that's the one that's going to have this light estimation information on it. So how we do that, we just go frame dot light estimate dot pixel intensity. Okay, and yeah, that's actually all we got to do. So if we were to build that now, in fact, yeah, why not? Let's quickly build it. Okay, so now we've got our little Android dudes. When I put my hand, darken the screen, you can see they get a bit darker. As I move my hand away, they get a bit lighter. And if I were to see if I get a lot of brightness in there, move towards the light, probably not quite enough. It does need a bit of calibration. Like the ARCore version of this has a much better, much more finely tuned, and I believe they have some lerping as well. So you know, it would adjust nicely. But yeah, anyway, we'll get into writing our own shader in the next one.